Hi everybody, this is Miss Crandall. Today we're going to do day 1. So rule 1 is the sum of any integer and its opposite is equal to 0. So an example of that would be 3 plus -3, so that being its opposite, is 0. Okay, rule number 2, adding 2 positive integers always yields a positive sum, and adding 2 negative integers always yields a negative sum. So an example of that being 7 plus 12, so both of those are positive, so this is going to end up positive, is 19. Okay, rule number 3. To find the sum of a positive and a negative integer, take the absolute value of each integer, then subtract these values. And then the result takes the sign of the integer with the larger absolute value. So step 1, you're going to want to take the absolute value. So taking the absolute value of both of these, so that's what these bars are, those absolute value. So then the absolute value just makes everything positive. So this -8 becomes positive, and then the 12 is already positive, so that's just going to stay positive. And then you're going to then step 2, change that to a subtraction sign. So 8 minus 12, which happens to be 4. And then you want to check your sign. So the sign of your answer is what the larger absolute value was. So our larger absolute value was this 12. So this is, because 12 was positive, this is going to stay positive, and 4 is our answer. Okay, so those are all of our adding rules. Now we're going to get into subtracting. So rule number 1 of subtracting. So to subtract, an integer, you're going to want to add its opposite. So, step 1, you're going to want to change the negative sign to a positive sign. Or, sorry, the subtraction sign to a addition sign. So, -8. So change that subtraction sign to an addition sign. So you're adding the opposite. So because this was a positive 12, now it's going to be a negative 12 because we're changing it to its opposite. So -8 plus a negative 12 is negative 20. Okay, so we'll go ahead and flip the page. Okay, so now multiplying and dividing rules. So rule number 1, the product or quotient so product meaning multiply and quotient meaning dividing of a positive integer and a negative integer is going to be negative. So if you're multiplying or dividing and you have one that is positive and one that is negative, your answer is always going to be negative. So here we've got -3 times 6. So if we multiply those together, 3 times 6 is 18. And because one of them is negative, this answer is going to be -18. And then same thing here. So 6 divided by -3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then because we have this negative, our answer is going to be -2. Okay, rule number 2. The product or quotient of 2 negative integers or 2 positive integers is going to be positive. So if they're both negative or if they're both positive, then they're going to end up positive. Where up here, if it was just one or the other was negative, then it was going to end up negative. So here, -3 times -6 is 18. Because 3 times 6 is 18, and then the negatives are going to cancel each other out. And then -6 divided by -3 is just going to be 2. So as you see here, we have the same things, but one was just negative here, where both of them were negative down here. Okay. Next thing you have to do are these modules on IXL.